Video is on.
Video is on.
Video is on. Hello everybody, it's June 11th, 2024. This is part 28 of the Two Old Guys Garage on the build of the Anglia Street Rod. This is segment 1. It's going to be a short segment. It's going to be more words than anything else since we're still kind of installed as of late and doing anything on the Anglia because we're waiting for parts. I'll get around to that. What you see there is Lou's always finding something to do. He bought a brand new welder that I think he's going to have to maybe go to school on to. Oh, hang on.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's, what is it, Lou? It's an inverter?
yeah, it's a prime weld inverter welder.
Huh.
Yeah, I've been wanting to get an inverter for a long time, so I finally decided to just go ahead and do it. The old Miller, she's getting tired, and so I decided to try one of these new crazy machines, which they're pretty sophisticated, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. It's got about 12 buttons.
Knobs on it.
12 knobs.
Yeah.
They should call it the Knob Twister Delight.
There you go.
Ah.
So meanwhile, I'm building a stand for it. Here's gonna be the stand.
You gonna put wheels on it?
Oh yeah, it'll have wheels and stuff.
Yeah, I guess about everything you got to
And
do.
then I'll have a piece in the back for the bottle to sit on it.
Ah, oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Then
So-
I got the welder sit up here, and then I got the water tank coming for the bottom because I'll be running a water cooled torch
Yeah, okay.
instead of the air cooled.
All right, so a little bit of catch up. This is the sockets, taillight sockets on the Anglia that we removed, and as you can see, they're pretty flimsy. These rivets to the housing were loose. This was wiggling. This piece gets stuck down there. Anyway, I managed to find some normal looking ones that weren't apparently made in China. Lou's installed those, and no more funny flashing brown shit on the taillights, so that's done. One of the comments to our last part 27 was we should have bought an Anglia body instead of messing with fiberglass. Well, you know, that would be nice, except that steel Anglia bodies of the popular model, which were made between 1948 and 1952, there weren't that many imported into the United States. I think it was 50,000 or something like that. And I would imagine that most of those got used up in the, 60s to 70s with, the gassers that were very popular at the drag strips. So they don't exactly grow on trees, so yeah, it would have been nice if we could have found one, but no. So the alternative was, of course, to look at a fiberglass repro body. And at the time that we started this 2 years ago, there was 2 sources for fiberglass bodies in the United States. One was Scott's in Ohio, I think, somewhere around
Yeah,
there.
back east, yeah.
Yeah, back east. And the other one was, of course, the West Coast cowboy guy. Well, about the time that we were looking to buy the body, Scott's sold the molds to the Anglia to some other company, and they were not set up and they couldn't produce or sell Anglia bodies from those molds. So the only choice to get the body was to go to the West Coast, which we did. And the rest is history. Anyway, so that's why we don't have an Anglia steel body. Funny thing about it too is when we started the project, we considered a PT Cruiser, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, and I happened to find a really good one for like $600 and everything on it, but we didn't go with the PT Cruiser because to lift the body up and put a frame under it.
Underneath it.
Yeah, we don't have a pit here in the garage, and we don't have much ceiling height,
Yeah.
so we can't put a lift on. So that kind of said we're not going to do the PT Cruiser. That's why we went with the Anglia. So, like I say, they're not available at Costco. In fact, the guy that we're getting we got the trunk from, and that we're got the grill from, and that we got the front fenders, the doors. He travels all around the United States
and Canada.
Canada, mostly Canada.
Yeah.
To get his parts, his like OEM steel parts. So, like I say, they don't grow on trees. So, what else is happening? I showed you the light socket. Okay. So, we got word last week that hopefully the doors are going to ship either last Friday, today is Tuesday, right?
Maybe Monday.
Or they were going to ship yesterday, but it's not a often line of communication for some reason, so we're waiting to hear if in fact they did get shipped yesterday. Hopefully they did. When they come, then we'll get going again on it. In the meantime, I've been doing a lot of work on my 32 Ford, which is another story and a half. Yeah, this has been the 2 months of hydraulic systems. I think I may have mentioned that when we downsized my house, it turned into a kind of a debacle, and the coupe ended up being stored at our lake house for 2 years plus, which left me hurting, frankly, because I couldn't get it the car, I couldn't do anything. So I've been playing catch up, and I've already documented the hydraulic brake system, which last reported was a good hard pedal when I did adapter to the master cylinder and did a pressure bleed. Well, master cylinders is kind of the topic of it, because just before I put it in storage 2.5 years ago, I noted that I had a little bit of a leak from the front of the clutch master cylinder, and made a note to rebuild that cylinder. In fact, ordered a repair kit for it back in 22, summer of 22. So having successfully finally got through the brake system, and it is working very good. I drove the car the other day to get some gas in it, and man, that's a good hard pedal. Stops on the dime, power brakes, you know, inline vacuum booster. But anyway, I got to thinking, the way things are going these days with prices going up and availability of parts, rather than rebuild the clutch master cylinder, I decided to buy a brand new master cylinder. So I did so, probably rock auto. Anyway, I got the new cylinder, the clutch master cylinder, took it apart to remove the function of the residual check valve, which is not needed because you want the slave cylinder and the clutch to come back fast and push all the fluid back in without having a 10-pound residual check. Anyway, I took it apart, got it all together, painted it up, put it back in, connected it up, and lo and behold, the brand new cylinder is leaking fluid from the front. And I had a oh what the fuck moment, excuse my language. Anyway, what was causing the leak, and this is another weird one. The weird one on the brake master cylinder, of course, was the stupid front seal from China that shrunk to 2/3 the size. In '93, I changed the return spring on the clutch master cylinder to make sure that everything was coming back and the clutch released as quickly as possible. And what I used was an old Ford return spring from the 30s and the 40s. And if any of you have worked on an old Ford, that spring is so strong that it usually takes a vice grip and a lever bar to undo the spring. So it was compounded by the fact that I grabbed the anchoring end off of a bracket that I made that fits under one of the transmission T10 bolts, and it was at an angle. the spring was so strong it was actually pulling the return cylinder at an angle, and the pressure was pushing the front seal to where it would actually leak. Crazy as hell. So I redesigned, made a better bracket, got rid of that spring, ended up putting an 11.5-pound spring in it and pulling straight back, okay? Good, works terrific. Put the new cylinder on. Of course, I had to power bleed it too, same issue with the air bubbles. And I still am having trouble shifting gears when the car is stopped because the transmission pilot shaft is dragging on the clutch disc. And it didn't used to do that. And I've come to the conclusion in thinking about it that what's wrong is that T10 transmission was put in June of 1971. And of course, what's typical is you lubricate the splines on the clutch disc and you lubricate the transmission pilot shaft bushing in the end of the crank of the engine. And in those days, the bushing at the crankshaft of the pilot bearing is a bronze bushing. They didn't use the ball bearing ones that they're using today. So I got to thinking about it. I have observed through my many years of looking on cars that grease will dry up and it will harden up. So what I think is happening is that there's a possibility that the lube on the splines for the clutch disc has dried and that the disc is sticking and it doesn't want to center when the clutch pedal is depressed. Anyway, that's what I think is going on. So the other part about it is that the master cylinder, which is a 3/4 inch bore on the clutch, and the Hostin-Ely Sprite slave cylinder, which is I think 7/8, has worked okay in the past. It's just now it's kind of not. I'm not getting a clean, smooth clutch release. So I thought about it and talked about it with Lou, who has done this himself on one of his earlier cars. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the transmission out. So that's easier said than done. And I'm going to check the clutch, the pressure plate, the spline. I'm going to pull the bronze pilot bushing out.
Put the ball bearing one in.
And I'm going to put a ball bearing one in. And then I'm going to clean and lubricate the 10 spline T10 pilot shaft and put it all back together, but I'm going to put in a hydraulic clutch release bearing. The one that goes on the pilot shaft and the bleed line and the pressure line come out the side of the hole where you normally push the car. So I did my usual research on this, and you can buy them. I saw one last night on the internet as cheap as $69. I thought, well, that's kind of cheap. Anyway, the typical price seems to be $130 or so.
Yeah, somewhere $150, somewhere around there, yeah.
But I did my usual overstudy of everything, and if I'm going to go to the trouble to pull this T10 out, which is going to be a bit of work, and do this conversion, I'm going to put a quality throttle bearing in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the one from Hayes Clutch Works, which now is another one of the many companies owned by Holly. It's expensive, it's $256 and some change, but I like the way it's machined, I like the way the glide pins are, I like the way it has a snap ring on the front of the shaft so that if you happen to push too far, the bearing won't fall off or tend to get cocked off on the front of the sliding part under the front of the transmission. I like that. The other thing is that almost every one of these from all the different manufacturings, from Speedway and Hayes and Tilton and Joe Blow Company, all recommend a 3/4 inch bore master cylinder. Well, the cylinder that I have is, It's a 7/8 bore. It's a little bigger bore than what they recommend. But in the installation drawing on the Hayes, it mentions that if it's recommending a 3/4 inch, but you can use a larger one, you either have to put a mechanical stop so that the clutch pedal doesn't go as far down to push the release too far forward, or increase the free play to the push rod in the master cylinder. Well, I like the sound of that. That's pretty easy to do. I've already got that pullback spring so that it comes up with an 11-pound spring on it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I've already ordered the ball bearing bushing for the crank end. I got that from Amazon. What a surprise. Another thing on Amazon available. That was a good price, free shipping. In fact, it should arrive today. I ordered it yesterday. And then the other good news is that being a veteran, I know that Summit will give you a discount if you're a veteran. But when I went to look online at my account at Summit, there was no way to do a veteran's discount. So I did send them an email, customer email, and they responded very nicely and told me how to do it. So now I'm registered in my account on Summit as a veteran. And the Hayes clutch unit is in fact qualified. A lot of their parts are not qualified. Now their discount is only 5%, but 5% is 5%. Doesn't quite pay for the sales tax, but anyway, it's better than nothing, as the fellow says. So I checked it online, and I'm ready to order that. And to get at that transmission, basically I got to pull the seats, I got to pull the floorboards, I got to pull the drive shaft, yada 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 yada. It's going to be a bunch of work. One of my fears is I won't remember what goes back when I put it all back together. So I'll be making a video of the exchange, and if for nothing else, to help me remember where the parts go back.
Yeah, it won't be a bad idea.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about it. Lou, we got anything else?
I'm hoping them doors get here this week.
Yeah,
So
and
get started on that part. It's still gonna be a disaster.
yeah. So we're kind of getting to the mode of patience our ass. We got to kill something. So
Yeah.
anyway, so that's about it. I'm gonna put this out just as a bullshit session on the YouTube video, because it's been 3 weeks since I published part 27. So I want to let you all know that
We're still alive.
we're still alive,
Barely.
we're still kicking and still complaining. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye to all our viewers. We appreciate your watching our crap and listening to us, and I hope I haven't bored you. By the way, you hear me mention a lot of dates when I'm talking about the 32. And I think I made it plain and obvious that, I built it in 1961. I built it after 6 months of work and was on the road in 61. And except for my years in the service when I was going over the Pacific Ocean and chasing Russian submarines, which is another story. 65 on, it's been running and registered. And it's an old dog, but it's a good dog, still running, still working on it. It's my life's artwork, I guess.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
My artwork. So anyway, fact.
Okay, everybody.
I got my t-shirt on, old school. That's us.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna let Lou get back to welding his platform for his new welder. And thank you, everybody. Take care out there. Keep your powder dry. Oh yeah, we have been having a bunch of bad weather around here.
Yeah, we really have.
One of the viewers asked if that was a problem. We have been very fortunate. Lou lives about a mile from my house, but in this immediate area of the town of Keller, Texas, the storms seem to go either to the north, the bulk of them, or either to the south and kind of bypass the severity. So knock on steel. We haven't had any.
Lucky.
We haven't had any tornadoes. They have been around here. We haven't had any straight line winds.
Yeah.
By the way, that's not true of my lake house. Did I tell you that that last blow took the shingles on the house? I got to get the new roof on the lake house.
Oh, that's right.
Jeez. And that's 90 miles away. So anyway, that's how it is. Thank you all. Appreciate it. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.